Hi everyone, I'm Eleanor Maier and I've been working as a lexicographer on the OED for 16 years. So how do we choose which new words to draft? When we draft words as part of revision, like the block examples, revision editors may identify gaps or come across new senses in the course of revision. So if we're looking at databases for evidence of existing senses, we may notice a new sense that isn't already in the entry that keeps coming up in the evidence. And so that might be a clue that there's a gap that we need to draft. We can also use corpora to identify new compounds of block, for example, or areas of meaning. And we can also check other dictionaries to see if there's any missing senses that we need to draft. And during revision, we also look at our paper files and see if anything's been submitted over the years or centuries even by previous readers of the dictionary. So that's how we choose which words to draft during revision. But there's also, we also have a separate process for drafting new words outside the revision process. And every quarter, a dedicated group within the department carries out a series of tasks which help identify potential new items for inclusion. And that might be whether it's for inclusion in the OED or one of our current dictionaries. And sources for new word suggestions include corpus trending words and keywords. And I'll just explain a bit more about what we mean by that. So, for example, one of our corpora is, we call it Komodo, and it's a corpus of online news sources which is updated every month. And there's billions, literally billions of words in it. And so editors can use Komodo to compare trending words and keywords with previous months to see whether there are any new items which have emerged over the month. And we can also use this analysis to see if there are any new words, any words which have experienced a real jump in usage, which may prompt us to examine how it's already treated in the dictionary. For example, here you can see, on this slide, you can see the word remotely had a massive jump in usage in the course of a month in about March 2020. And this was as a result of everyone switching to remote, well, a lot of people switching to remote working during the pandemic, including the staff of the OED. And so as a result of analysing these trending words and keywords in the corpus, we had another look at remotely, and we ended up drafting some senses to do with remote working. And then high profile and personal observation items on our in-house new words tracker. So we have a piece of software called Lima, where we keep a record of any new words or senses that come to our attention. And quite often editors add words to this tracker because they've been in the news, they come across on social media, or it's otherwise high profile. And so we have a look at these to identify items which have had a jump in usage that we might want to draft. So jabbed might be an example of that. Pumpkin spice we drafted recently, which seemed ubiquitous, and that was added to our new words tracker as something that editors sort of observed, but that wasn't in the dictionary. We also generate new words candidates from the reading program. And the reading program is a series of programs we have where groups of freelancers read selected texts from various time periods and various genres, various groups of people, various Englishes, and they highlight any words which they think might be of interest to us as lexicographers or which represent a missing sense or a new development. And these are all tagged and inputted into our in-house database. And so we can run a search to look at what catchwords have been added as a result of the reading program to identify new words, perhaps in a particular variety of English or used in a particular genre. And finally, failed searches on OED.com are an important source of new words. For example, if everyone's typing in the word jabbed and we don't have an entry for jabbed, or COVID is a search that a lot of people might be using, and they're not coming up with anything, then we can look at those failed searches and think, do we need to actually draft any of these items? So once we've gathered a list of candidates for inclusion, we add them to a spreadsheet, and we use a piece of software called the New Words Prioritization Engine, or NUPI, to help prioritize the words and identify which ones we really should draft or must draft, as opposed to which ones, if we had all time in the world, we would draft. So the new words prioritization engine prioritizes the words by aggregating frequency information from a variety of sources, such as various corpora, our own in-house database, things like that. And we also look at things manually because not all items can be processed in this way. And the group looks at these words and applies the Moscow criteria to decide whether it's something we must draft, should draft, could draft, or won't draft for the moment, although we might revisit it later. And some of the things we consider when we want to decide whether to include a new word is, do we have enough evidence of the word in use? And we ideally want evidence where the word is used contextually. So for example, if the only evidence of the word we have is someone using the word and then explaining what it means, it shows that it hasn't really reached a level of familiarity that would justify its inclusion. So for example, if we had the word side hustle and someone says, oh, lots of people have a side hustle and in brackets have to explain what they mean by that word, then if all our evidence is like that, we wouldn't want to include it. Although an example like that could be useful as a first quotation. We also look at longevity when we're deciding whether to include a word. We'd like it to have been around for at least some time to make sure it's not a flash in the pan. But we don't have any hard and fast rules around that. So we added COVID, for example, when it was only a few months old, because it was such an important word. We need to track its development, its etymology, things like that. Brexit, the word Brexit, we added, I think only after a few years, but if it's in the newspapers every single day, it's completely familiar to people who are using it, then that justifies its inclusion, even though it might be a fairly recent word. And we also examine how widespread the word is. If it's used by just a very few people in a very specialist group, then maybe that would have a lesser priority than something that has more general currency. So that's just a little bit of information about new words, what kind of new words we add and how we decide whether to add them.